podcast series, an initiative by SW India. In this episode, we feature Steve, CEO of Creek Professional Alliance, who built a USD 3.5 billion company and now is reimagining accounting profession, scaling Creek to a USD 500 million run rate in just 35 months. Joining him is Shrey Gupta, VP Global Growth Operations at Creed, a trusted advisor to a CPA firm leaders on leadership, growth, and transformation. Together, they discuss leadership at the top, coaching entrepreneur, and how accounting firms can manage change, succession, and growth in today's evolving advisory landscape. The conversation is hosted by Kunal Mehra, co-founder and managing partner of SW India. Over to you, Kunal.
Welcome, Steve and Shay. Thanks for coming to our SW podcast. Really excited to have discussion with you. I hope you will also enjoy today's discussion.
We're honored to be here. Thank you for inviting us.
So, Steve, maybe we'll start with your introduction. Like, you had a remarkable career leading matters from a single franchisee to a 3.8 billion company listed in Nasdaq, and then served as operating partner at Lightway Capital. So, what inspired you to move into accounting and professional services space, and what do you see this industry that excited you?
Yeah, I think a couple of things. First of all, the industry, as you know and we've talked about, it's going through such a transformation. And, my whole career, scaling from, $1,300 to a $3.8 billion company was really about, people, structure, strategy, and scale, and investing in people. And I think that, given the dynamics in this industry, which we've talked a lot about, but there's the rapid pace of technology changes, of course there's a talent shortage, and there's a challenge there, and then you got rapid consolidation, which I've been a part of in multiple industries actually, and then you've got the clients really just changing their expectations. And so when you think about all of that, that's an exciting mixture of things to work with, and so it became very exciting to have an opportunity to be a part, a little footnote in this transformation that we're trying to do. But at the heart of it, it's really about entrepreneurialism.
Yeah.
What I care the most about is like what we are so focused on is really honoring the entrepreneurs, and that's something that's been kind of consistent across really all the chapters of my career. And so I'm very excited about that opportunity here in the accounting space.
How's your experience so far?
It's been exciting. I tell you, for people who say, accountants are boring, they're wrong. Accountants are amazing. And I think accounting is, for me, being running a small business and then growing to a public company, accounting was really the language of business, and it was the truth of everything that was happening. So it became the backbone of my existence for many years, and so to now be partnering with the professionals that work really, really hard, to help give this advice is really huge. So it's been a lot of fun.
So obviously you've been dealing with accountants or CPAs on the other side, being a client.
Yes.
Now you are dealing with the other side.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
So what difference you are finding?
Well, it's great question. It's the profession works really hard.
Yeah.
The professionals, the practitioners, they have a very hard job. The amount of expertise that's required, the amount of time that's required, the amount of technology that's required. I mean, it's a very difficult job. So it's been interesting. But I'll tell you, like, what I'm also excited about is there's really an opportunity to help. We work a lot with mid-sized firms to help them think about structure and strategy and scale, which has been something that many firms really have yet to invest in.
Yeah.
How do you invest in the things that are necessary to go to the next, what's next for these firms, and many of them are hitting that wall, and they're trying to figure out how they compete, how do they thrive, how do they survive in a rapidly changing environment. And so to be partnered with them and to talk about, hey, this is some ways that we can leverage our combined experience of the experience that they have being in the profession, and then the experience of scaling a company. It's fun because at the heart of it, they're all entrepreneurs. They really are very entrepreneurial.
No, I think if you ask me personally, especially being 28 years in this profession, and this is the right combination to have of people like you, Shrey, coming out, not have that legacy of accounting profession, but you have a legacy of how to do business, grow and all that. Like you have grown metrics. So that's the kind of experience or I would say it is needed to handhold the kind of firms you are working on. Because what I've seen dealing with a lot of CPAs and all that, they are under some, so I would say, a silo that it has to be done like 1 + 1 = 2. It has to be done like that only. But people like Steve, Shrey can always come with a solution. 3 - 1 is also 2. That's the result you wanted, but there's other way to do it. So I think that's the way. I'm very sure you guys are going to have a lot of good result and success, not for the member firms and for Crete also.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of the structure, I call it like the fiefdom structure of a lot of the managing partners, typically have left a big four firm and went out on their own because they believe they could do it better, and they are. They really focus on client service. They focus on the relationship, but it's very difficult sometimes to grow a business and build an actual organization structure while you're also managing your client book. And so the firms that break through, what we're seeing is they're the ones who have really invested in this infrastructure, operating rhythms, infrastructure like a chief operating officer, technology infrastructure. So it's people. I call it people, process, technology, like we all talk about every day. And so it's that's looking at it from a business perspective. And then with the transformation that's happening in the world with technology, we just really feel we're very long on the humans. We really feel like the relationship, if the compliance is what got us here, the relationship's going to be the moat. What's going to separate us from everyone is the relationships and the trust, and so we want to use the tech tools, the AI, to free us so that we can have more time to invest deeper relationships and solve more problems. That's the key.
You are right, Steve. I think you have got the pulse of our side. That trust and relation is the big factor. So, Shrey, coming to you, you obviously started your professional career with startup in India, and then you went for the MBA from US. How did your journey lead to Crete, and what draw you the idea of transforming into CPA profession?
Yeah, so I think thanks for the question, Kunal, and thank you for having us and having me also join with Steve for this conversation.
It's our honor.
So I think to back up a little bit, right? My journey started in India. In fact, Gurgaon is where I've spent most years of my life. I grew up in and around, all of this. Interestingly, I went to college at Sri Ram College of Commerce thinking I would become a chartered accountant and I would become an accounting professional. But life had other plans. I did still start my career in professional services, but I ended up going down the advisory path, doing management consulting for a few years. And eventually what really attracted me to the startup ecosystem was the opportunity to build businesses and work with really smart people to come up with solutions to problems that hadn't been thought of previously. So I started in the hospitality industry, being part of an early team of a well-known hospitality tech startup, which is a very, very human-intensive, operationally intensive business. And then in some ways, I think I've been able to carry some of those lessons from working at the intersection of hotels and technology, also to what I'm doing today at Crete, which is working with our accounting firm partners and our accounting firm colleagues to bring the best of technology and process to power the people who are delivering that exceptional client experience to the clients we serve. And just as in the past, I was motivated by the goal of bringing high quality standardized experiences in the hospitality industry to people. I think we now have the opportunity to open up access to high quality insights and access to data to what I think is a very critical part of the American economy, which is the small and middle market economy, because the kinds of insights that businesses need in today's rapidly changing environment historically were only able to be accessed through providers like the big fours, and the big fours don't work for everybody. So I think what excites me and every day, what I'm motivated by waking up every morning is to be able to work with our partner firms to serve the real economy and to serve real America and serve the entrepreneurs, the businesses, the individuals that we get to work with, bringing them access to the high quality data, insights, and solutions to their business problems. And by doing that, we're helping them, preserve wealth, create more wealth for themselves and for the economies that they're a part of. And I think that's at the heart of what we do.
I think a lot of audience who will be going to see the podcast will be interested to know Shreya, who born and brought up in India, Gurgaon, went for college, higher education in US. Now he is helping the people at the local level in the US, especially on accounting and professional, which is obviously they involve technology and all that, which you are helping. But there are a lot of local nuances, relationship, and all that need time to understand. And so, how you transform yourself? So I'm very sure you will be requiring a lot of transformation at your end also.
Yeah. So I think
hospitality to this is it. I know the process and everything, but the business is altogether different.
Yeah. So I think very briefly, quickly addressing that as well, right? I think one is accounting is the language of business in some ways, and it's interesting because I studied accounting and through college, and then even at my the master's level, of course, I studied a lot of accounting. But I think being able to bring lessons from different businesses and apply them to apply those lessons in new industries and new spaces, I think hasn't left me. And seeing the power of what technology can do to really augment and amplify humans has also stayed with me. So whether it's hospitality, whether it's residential real estate, which are two industries I've worked in previously, or it's accounting now, where we're bringing the best of technology and process to power the people. I think as long as you're approaching it with the mindset of learning, getting to the why behind the why behind the why, essentially, and trying to get to the core, the first principles of why does a problem exist, and what solutions can help us address those problems. I think you don't need to be an insider to be able to work in this industry. Of course, being a practitioner takes a different kind of training and expertise, and so the good news is I am not the one advising our end clients on how to save, optimize their taxes or how to.
You're doing a great job and wishing you a lot of success.
Thank you.
And you will be the examples for a lot of people in India, and especially the accounting side. That how can a person from non-accounting side, technically speaking, even your heart is with us. So I think wishing you a lot of success. Thanks for coming today in our podcast. So Steve, let's come to Crete, which I am more interested in. Obviously, I've been following Crete for last 2 years in terms of what you are doing and the growth and everything is concerned, but never got an opportunity to discuss one-to-one with someone who is actually can tell about what is Crete about. So what basically Crete is about, professional alliance is about, what the problem you are solving, what value you are creating for your member firms.
Yeah. So I think when you think about what's happening in the industry, you've got kind of this dynamic that's the four horsemen that are coming at us, which is the technology is changing at an incredibly rapid pace. You've got a talent shortage, you've got clients expecting more, and then you've got rapid consolidation. So if you're a mid-market firm, the decision you have to make is kind of do I stay as is, or what's next? How do I grow? How do I survive? How do I thrive? Standing still is not really an option. The big four have a war chest of resources. And so what Crete's solving for is what I basically call the T's and the C's. So our terms and conditions are not really terms and conditions in the sense that they're our T's and C's. So think of us more like the Intel inside, like the brand Intel inside Dell. So you stay your brand, and we're allowing, and not just allowing, but we're structurally creating it to where these firms can keep their identity, they can maintain their culture, and they can align the incentives with us, so that their growth is their growth. But they get access to these resources, as Shrey was talking about, so we can bring. And it's really it's a little bit. So when I get into the T's and the C's, it's about bringing the Fortune 500 level tools and technologies to the middle market. So we're arming the rebels, so to speak. We're arming the entrepreneurs so that they can be competitive. So they don't have to trade off. It's not a trade-off between autonomy and or growth. So you have options in the industry, and there's lots of great options, but you can merge up, but then you have to potentially give up your autonomy. And many of these entrepreneurs love their culture, love their team. They don't want to give it up, but they don't want to also, at the same time, they don't want to fall behind because the world is moving so fast. But if you're a firm in, say, the middle of America, are you really going to be able to invest in the engineers that would be necessary to develop AI agents? Are you really going to be able to vet? We've vetted over 200, technologies with great depth. Are you going to have the resource to do that? And I will tell you, you talked about like being in the accounting industry or not. When I was building a mattress firm, it took me 8 years to get to 60 stores.
Okay.
But then when I partnered with a private equity firm who did not know how to run a mattress store, I knew how to do that.
Obviously.
But what they did for me was they gave me jet fuel. They gave me access to these tools, so that I had data, I had insights, I had capital, I had all of these things. And to go from 8 years to 60 stores and then go to 2,500 in the next 5 to 7 years would never have happened. And so if you think about that and you translate that to this world, what we're really looking at is we've got a very fragmented industry, and how can we offer them the talent, the technology, and the tools, the best practices that would be at the Fortune 500 level, and then the capital, the cross-selling, and the collaboration. So that's what the Alliance is about. It's really about you don't have to give up your growth. You don't have to trade off growth for autonomy, and at the same time, you still get to be you in terms of your investment, and so you still own your. So you think of us as just another partner. Okay. And so I think we're a hybrid. So there's definitely, and private equity is very, very successful across the industry, and we highly respect it, and we're part of it. But I call us a partner equity. Yeah. So the P for us is partner equity, not because we're really just another partner.
No, I agree. Now, obviously, partner equity comes with a lot of strategic value and other benefits also. It's not only the money part, but there are other benefits. Like you mentioned, when you taken PE in Madras, they bring not the money, but a lot of other tools and reach out, or the aspect which needed to escalate, help you in terms of building the scale which otherwise is not possible only with money only. Money is obviously is like an oil, but you need right car also.
Yeah, yeah.
To reach the destination.
Yeah. You need a lot of things.
A lot of things.
You need access, you need resources, you need people.
Just to summarize, Steve, just for obviously I understand what benefits and stuff, but just from a simple understanding point of view, like I have a firm in US firm, mid-sized firm. What is the model works between, say, example, a firm in US or your member firm and Crete? In terms of the model is concerned, obviously you mentioned about the value you bring on the table, from technology to relationship to a lot of learnings and other things is concerned. But how this model works? So you Create invest in that member firm, or how that works?
Yeah, the way we work is if you own your firm and you just choose to partner with us, is that we actually invest in your firm.
Okay.
And so we've partnered with almost 50 firms at this point. So we have 50 different partnerships. So basically, your investment is inside your firm, not in the other 40 plus.
They are not
firms.
interrelated in any case. Yes.
They're interrelated in the sense that they get access to the talent, the tools, the tech, but and they get access to our economics. But at the same time, their growth is their growth. So that's the structural difference of how we're investing. And then I think one other thing is we very subtly different from a traditional PE model. We have a venture capital partner. So we were founded by ZBS Partners, which is Jake Sloan and Frank Zung, and really amazing entrepreneurs that have proven this model, this independent model. It's a JV model, really. It's a joint venture model in multiple industries, and the veterinarian industry, the HVAC industry. So they've done it many times over. But in this case, we've also partnered with Thrive Capital and with Bessemer. And so what's happening is with Thrive, by having Thrive Capital in there, they have a permanent capital vehicle.
Yeah.
So we don't have a short hold kind of mindset. We're not trying to just buy it and build it and cut costs and flip it.
Or there's a time restriction.
Right. And so it's very important for us because we're really trying to build enduring companies. And so we can make investments with a very long horizon viewpoint.
Well, that's very important. Well, this, as we were discussing off this profession requires a lot of long time investment.
Exactly.
And all that. And sometimes VC and Ps have their compulsion from exit and time point of view. So that's where I think alignment is very important and all that.
Time horizons and investments are a real issue. So if you have a 4 to 7 year time horizon, by the second year you need to start making your efficiency cuts because you want to show a 2-year history. So the honeymoon is fast, and so we don't operate in that mindset at all. Of course, we have an ROI focus, and we have a focus on building something that is profitable. But at the same time, we have a very long horizon about how we think about investing. So our view is really long on people investments and process, as Trey was talking about, building process from the inside out. And so at the end of the day, these managing partners that we've partnered with are excellent at what they do. They're amazing, and many of them just having the exposure when you've built a 10, 20, 30 million dollar, $40 million firm is really impressive. But having the exposure of how to scale to 100 million and how to really invest in that is really, really something that if they've never been there, then they don't know what they don't know. So what we're trying to do is help them with exposing them with the data, the insights, the technology, the people.
Providing all platforms.
In all sense. But I have a saying with them. I call it playbooks, not rule books. And what I mean by that is, we will provide playbooks to you, but also different from, many of the platforms that I've seen before is we're not mandating change. You're still the captain of your ship.
I understand.
You're the entrepreneur, and
we're just helping you.
If you like this playbook, great. But if you don't, then
it's your choice.
Then then it's your choice. So.
And I think to add to Steve's point, which is a point Steve also made earlier, right? We are aligned on a common language through which we assess, the health of the business, the health of the people, and the health of the client experience, right? It's what we call the triad. So when we're partnering with our partners, we are aligned that we're heading in a direction that they care about, that we care about supporting them, and eventually, as long as we're delivering exceptional client service and we are delivering great experience to the people who power our business, the business is healthy. And that's why we're here to sort of supercharge their growth. So I think that triad really serves as a tool to give all of us a lot of clarity on where are we going? What's the destination?
Yeah. So to clarify that, the scorecard on the triad is people prosperity, which is our culture, client prosperity, and financial prosperity. So if we're kind of what I always talk when I talk to the partners, they're like, well, how will we deal with the problem? And I'm like, well, or how will we make a decision? And I say, well, the triad's our compass. So if you make a decision based off of people, is this good for the people, your people? And is this good for the client? And is this good for our financial prosperity? Well, even if it's a mistake, you can't really make a mistake, because as an entrepreneur, what would you do? You would make a decision based off of this exact same principles, and so that's our scorecard. That's all we focus on. And if we stay true to that, so it's not, the financials are kind of a lagging indicator to us. We think the leading indicators is the client growth and the people growth. And
I think obviously in our business, in profession, accounting, you always see what the kind of qualitative aspects, results you are getting. Either hiring people, having what solution you are building and giving value to the client. And then the numbers and the commercials will follow. Commercial can't follow first, because as we all agree, there is a business of trust and relationship. First you have, only then you can charge fees to the client. Otherwise, and for that you have to have a lot of things right. I think that's the foundation of Creed. That's where you're building in terms of technology, capability, reach, scale. A lot of other things. Not one point game. Is a lot of important aspects which has to be built in terms to be, say, from $30 million to $100 million.
Yeah, I have a saying I say a lot of times to our team, which is, if you want to grow the firm, we have to grow the people. And so
right people.
Yeah, and if you think of like a tree, what we see is the leaves, but the health of a tree is the roots underneath, and we don't see that. But to your point, like inside the culture of an organization, for the tree to be healthy, for the firm to be healthy, we really got to invest deeply into the soil, the watering, the fertilizing of the culture, because that right there will make the leaves, the client, really green and really healthy. And so my mentality is we invest there first. Even in the face of all this technology, it is really about using the technology to make accounting more human, not less human.
Obviously,
more human, because the relationship is really the stickiest and most, and it's really what the clients pay for. It's what they value the most. Is they value the trust that they've put inside you for all these years that you've been doing that, and that's what they pay for. And so we want to free that up, but it's also very difficult, because there's so much work that has to be done. That's one of the exposures that I've really seen, is just how much work is being done. So we're feverishly working on the back end to free. If I were to say there was one word, like what's the major objective, it's one word: freedom. Freedom of time, freedom of opportunity, and that freedom unlocks everything. It unlocks it as a client, having the freedom to make decisions. And so freedom is really, really a very critical aspect of everything that we're doing.
No, I agree with you. I think if you ask me, I always speak with my team that obviously we have to have right strategy, right people, right technology. That's given. That's the minimum. That's the game you have to have. But I think following the right process day in, day out, discipline is very also important, because this business takes time. You have to be patient. You have to follow the process. It's not like you went to a meeting, you will get the result. You have the people, they will be revenue generated on the second day. That's not possible. Having that expectation is wrong. It's obviously right strategy, right people, right technology, and the process discipline following the process is very critical for the success. Otherwise, people lose patience, or people lose their track also.
It's everything in life. I mean, if we want to play sport, the difference between me not being a professional golfer and the professional golfers is a discipline. And so by showing up every day and just and reducing that variability and showing that discipline is how that I guess Roy won the Masters, because you if you have that discipline over years, and you get into tough situations, you know what to do, and to your point, it's not overnight.
Yeah.
And so, technology is a tool, it's an enabler, but it is not the solution.
Yeah, I agree.
It is.
It's human relationship and
It's
trust
human,
and
yeah,
that's where I
yeah.
agree so well. Technology is not going to be. Steve, I have a very interesting thing to understand. Obviously, my number is old. You said 50 firms. You
we
are.
just crossed over 46. We're getting close to 50.
My number is 30, which is old one.
Yeah.
But I have curiosity to understand how you are able to integrate this 50 mindsets, technology, everything I understand, that's common. But integrating this 50 mindset, bringing on that platform is a big challenge. It's not for this profession, I think for every, managing 50 people at the top is always difficult. And to make it to work for common goal.
Yes.
Or agree.
Yeah. It is challenging because, and to add to it, like in a traditional roll up, you could mandate changes, and so we're not doing that. And so in many ways, what we're doing is can be a little more difficult, but it's also faster because we have 50 speedboats. We don't have this big lumbering ship. We're not really trying to build the next huge nameless, faceless type accounting firm with just hundreds of thousands of 300,000 employees. We're not really focused on that. What we're focused on honoring the entrepreneur. And so with them being the captain of their ship and aligning incentives, and that's the big structural difference, is we're not buying 100% or 90%. We're partnering with them so that they have a significant stake in the outcome, and they are the experts that built the business. And so they're leveraging us kind of like Intel inside just to do the processing, just to do the back office, just to do those things. And so as a result of that, the way we're doing it is we're not mandating changes, but we are offering tools that unlock change. And so if you want to access those tools, then we've vetted different systems that you can change, and then we offer an integration team for change management. I would say the hardest part of it is change management. Because it's not just about tech change, it's about human, as you know, going through your experience in your firm, the human change is usually harder than the tech change. Plugging the technology in is pretty quick, but getting the habits to change.
I know, obviously, we being part of democratic society is another challenge. US and India is like the same culture.
Very similar.
You have to have agreement with all, only that the things can work. And democracy has to be there. No, I agree, I think. Sheikh, you being a growth and global operation, you are responsible for the driving growth and value for the member firm. How's your journey so far at Create? And what is the biggest takeaway, experience or challenge you have experienced till now, especially dealing with this member firms and people like my accountants?
Right. So I think fundamentally, it's important to remind ourselves, right, that we're in the business of working with humans to serve humans. So as long as we keep that at the center of how we work with our partners in the US and or our team members that are sitting in other parts of the world outside of the US, I think to Steve's point, change management is critical, and change needs to be thoughtful, it needs to be intentional. So we've decided to build our solutions not in a vacuum, but with our firms. And what we've done is, whether it's technology, whether it's process, everything that we roll out as is a joint effort, which is designed with our firms and our international team working hand in hand, and our technology team working hand in hand to develop that. What we are bringing with our global operations or our global delivery capability to our member firms is really unlike anything that they would otherwise find in the market, because it is a combination of cutting edge technology and AI that is either developed in-house by our technology transformation team or is available in the market but is still new, and implementing those solutions and those tools is hard. We're bringing those technology solutions, testing them and designing them and running them with our international team, which is based in India, and then implementing it within our firms. So it becomes a joint effort, and by doing that, our global delivery team in some ways also becomes, they become change agents. They help our firms navigate that change. They help our firms deliver that value internally as well as to our end clients better. So I think it's been a really rewarding experience. We've got a few data points that have been super encouraging. We've just finished our first tax season, and in just our first tax season alone, we've delivered over a 90% first time right outcome on thousands of tax returns. Our AI capabilities are really working with a very high level of accuracy and precision, where our AI platform that has been developed by our technology transformation team is also able to get almost 97-98% accuracy on many forms, and eventually we're freeing up the humans, whether it's in the US or in India, to be able to spend more time working together and to be able to spend more time with clients to deliver value, which I think makes it really powerful. Steve, anything you'd add to that?
No, I mean, I think just to your point, I mean, the more time we can free up, the more we can focus on what the clients value.
Yeah. No, I must acknowledge and appreciate that. Steve and Shay knows, I speak with a lot of CPA firms from 3 billion to bigger 2 and smaller one in US and other part, and whoever has their operation center or delivery center in India, whenever, it's not that it's just suppose I'm speaking with them, they generally speak about the basic work of tax preparation, say audit testing or some kind of basic work there. But as I have spoken with Steve also earlier, and today as we are discussing, what you are speaking is more futuristic, more technology driven, more new things you are developing in India, whereas I have come across CPA firm, they are just discussing is like in a cost saving operation center, and they just want to outsource some of the basic work. I understand that that's also that's a good way to do it. It's all about the thought process.
Right.
You have a thought process, that's okay, we will do that also, but we will do this also, which is for next 3 years. Because it takes time to build, test, and a lot of things also. Like tax preparation cycle comes twice in a year. You can't be live all day and day out. So it takes time to be, say, 100% success rate of accuracy is concerned. It will come in October or April next year, to be confident.
And so the opportunity that creates for our team in India or in other parts of the world is not just to be doing tax returns or to be doing audit testing, right? They're part of the solution. They're part of designing the solution and delivering it. So our teams are very focused on delivering outcomes and delivering solutions for our business and our firms.
Yeah.
And by doing that, we're able to improve the quality of solutions we deliver to our end clients.
No, I think that's like, as we, in my firm also, we do all basic work. I am not saying I do the top end of the work or the work futuristic. But I think the thought process is we have to do the basic work in any case. So that's a part of our responsibility or the business requirement of our client. But you have to ready for the future also. That's where the differentiation is, that you are working on X also, you are working on Y also, so that you make X plus Y for your client. That's where that. And Shrey, obviously I know there's still it has long way for you to learn in accounting profession. So what is the biggest challenge you think come across in our side of the business, either on business strategy point of view or people side, anything which you think is still need to be solved?
So I would call it more an opportunity than a challenge.
Yeah.
But I think the opportunity on sort of in accounting, and especially if I take the global delivery, the India lens, I think the opportunity is how do we develop the accounting professionals of today and tomorrow to think very differently from how legacy professionals who have trained them, who they have seen and who they've learned to emulate have thought. I think AI is such a transformative shift in how we all spend our time. How do we equip our teams of professionals in India to also be using AI and using technology in new ways to deliver value to end clients. And it's not easy, right? Because as someone who studied accounting, I know that I was trained to follow accounting conventions and follow certain rules and apply those principles and rules to my, from an academic lens into business practice. Today, we're talking about a very different mindset. And so I think that's the opportunity, which is bringing in people who are willing to unlearn and relearn how this profession will deliver value to our clients 5 years, 10 years, 20 years from today, which is going to look very different from how value was delivered in this industry 5, 10, 20, 30 years ago.
I agree with you. So coming to stay, so what is a long play for Crete? Say next 5 years, 10 years. What is a vision or what is a goal you are thriving at Crete to achieve?
Yeah, I think our long-term vision is, going back to, we're really at the highest level trying to create more value for our clients. And that's move from reporting the past to shaping the future. And so that transition that Shrey just talked about is really the vision of how can we equip and transform our firms into really the most modern advisory platform that we could create. And so if we can equip them with the technology and at the same time invest in the people and the process, the discipline that you talked about, then the exciting part about that is the entrepreneurs get to still maintain their business, remain competitive, and candidly, I think provide service. If you think about the middle market is going to continue to demand more services and more value because they have a PhD in their pocket.
Yeah.
They have ChatGPT in their pocket. So they have access to this stuff. So we need to make sure we're in front of that value and we're giving them that information and then getting ahead of just compliance work and getting into advisory work. And so we want to go deeper with our relationships. We want to go deeper with our service offerings. And so 5 years from now, we will have covered, all the states and all the service lines and all the technologies. And so, and I think the secret ingredient that we will end up with is kind of like oxygen. You can never stop an entrepreneur. Entrepreneurs have passion. It's not like this corporate mindset. They have incentive and they have passion. And that is unstoppable. But if they don't have the resources to compete, then it's a very difficult
That's the weakness
challenge.
you're creating into.
So we want to give them the resources, but then we want to liberate the advisor and automate the data layer. And that's really what we're trying to do. And so it's not necessarily like a size objective. It's not. It's really just about providing that support in a unique way that honors the entrepreneur.
But the two parties we are in commercial world. The number game also has to play it rightly also. And especially, obviously, the money being invested by PE and all that, they want exit at some time. It's not with you. I think whoever is doing investment.
There's lots of ways you can access, liquidity, right? And so growth. I'm not apologetic about growth because it's the fuel. It's actually the fuel that continues to invest in technology. But Thrive Holdings, which has an investment in Crete, is a holdings company, and so with this permanent capital mindset, we can continue to invest and just create value for a long time. Now, I do think, we've grown very fast.
I know.
We've just crossed over 500 million inside 30, under 35 months. So it's been a very fast ride, for us to get to the $500 million mark. But look, size is a component. It's not the only.
So let me put the hat on difficult part on me. Next 10 years, 3 billion, 5 billion.
The way I think about it is, you're always going to have like the big four, and they're really, really massive, and they serve a really great spot in the world. We're not trying. We want to be the big one collection of entrepreneurs, and so I'm sure aspirationally in 10 years we'd be in the top 10, we are, um, ostensibly, get well over 5 billion at some point. But that's not, we want to partner. What's more important to us is partnering with the right ethos.
No, I think
But-
Steve, sorry, but
Yes.
number is not to be taken and that we are very materialistic. But number also give you indication that I am serving so many people, clients who
Yeah.
are satisfied.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a way to look also.
Yeah.
Obviously, because we are, let's be honest, we are into the commercial world. But what we are trying to achieve is serving, say we started with 0 and we are serving 5 billion, say 5,000 client, 10,000, whatever number is. That's our goal.
Well, what's so interesting about this space, which coming from my previous world, it was a decent sized space, but this space is so much more infinitely large.
Yeah.
So I think technology, and we talked about this earlier, technology is going to open up so many more service lines. So what's interesting about the like in the mattress space, there's 320 million humans in the U.S.
Yeah.
and they all sleep on a bed. So you have kind of this finite pool.
The time size is limited.
Yeah, unless cows start sleeping on mattresses, you have a finite pool of how many beds you're going to sell because there's a turn rate.
Yeah.
In this space, what's so interesting to me and why I'm so excited about it is you can continue to have more services that it's almost infinite because it's about advice, it's about advisory, and that the world is getting more complex.
Yeah.
There's more regulation. There's more things happening, and businesses need, and with technology coming, that's just going to open up even more data, and that data is going to require someone to interpret it. And so these professionals that you've worked with your whole life, and we all work with, they can interpret that data for the business leader that's the purest entrepreneur in America that's running an HVAC company or running, just the middle of America. And I'll tell you, like, running a company for 15 years, with just getting my QuickBooks done by the 15th, and then by the time you make a decision, it's 30, 40 days old, to running a public company. When you're running a public company, everything is different because you are predicting the future because you have strong FP&A, strong analytics. And when I got to that stage, because of the investments that we had made, I started to realize, like, this is really game changing. If we can equip the middle market who can't afford that with those types of tools, this who knows how big this could be, but it goes on beyond any number that we can think about. It just goes on and on and on. So it's an exciting space, and that's for all of us.
Yeah, obviously.
Like this isn't a zero-sum game. We can have like all of the consolidation in the industry. We think is a good thing because it's raising the bar, and so we think that. That the consolidation is very healthy, and our competitors, we honor them, we admire them. We're all going to learn from each other. This is not going to be a zero-sum game.
No, I agree with you. And just for the data point for everyone, like, the service sector, what is the market opportunity globally is 4 trillion.
Wow.
Service, and obviously within services there are a lot of categories. But that's the size of the market, global opportunity.
Yeah, the
4 trillion.
mid-market U.S. the middle market U.S. companies is like the 3rd largest GDP in the planet.
Yeah, obviously.
I mean, it's massive.
No, like if you see India market and even the US market, the 50% more is service.
Yeah.
Is not manufacturing. China maybe have 50-60% manufacturing, but we are in service driven economy. So that's the opportunity. Coming to that example of matters.
Yeah, it's so massive. It's
just having the right solution, and
it's more there's more growth than I think all of us can handle, and I think that this technology is going to really create. It's interesting if you go past in time. Whether it be the internet or even all the way back to the 1400s and the printing press, that when there's been transformative events on the planet, there's always fear.
Yeah.
But then what happens is there's 10x the opportunities because it creates new industries, it creates new opportunities, and we are at the precipice, the dawn of the single fastest and probably one of the most material transformations in the history of the world happening right now with AI. So. I just think it creates so much opportunity. It's exciting.
I agree. I think there is way to look into half glass full or half empty.
Yeah.
I think you have to see that it is half full, giving you more opportunity than taking out.
Humanity always finds a way.
Yeah, obviously.
Humanity finds a way to evolve and a way to you know, in essence, capitalize on the opportunity.
Yeah.
So it's exciting.
So Steve, just one question. Obviously, like Creed, there is another same. I think the firm called Ascent, which is also doing a similar kind of consult. I am not sure what model they have. And just now, last week, I see one another startup models alliance. They have got $85 million. This.
Yeah.
That's what surprised to me. 25-year kids, nothing to do with accounting, and they are trying to create a alliance of a accounting firm. So what? Obviously, Modus Alliance is just an example, not a to quote on. But from Ascent point of view, what is the difference? And from Ascent and plus the lot of PE investment which is happening, I think they are also playing the same kind of play in a different market segment and all that is concerned. But obviously you have different play from technology and holding. That's more money side and all that. So what is?
I think from my perspective, everything I've seen from Ascend and the others is very admirable.
Yeah,
I mean,
obviously.
I think that they are partnering with firms. They're keeping the brands the same. They're supplying them with opportunities and access very similarly, and it seems like they're building a really good platform.
Yeah.
And so I think we have a lot of respect for them, and I think that makes us all better. I think the structural difference with us is we partner, and our partners own an equity interest in their firm, and we invest in their firm. There's no roll up in a top co. And so when you roll up in a top co, you personally, your ownership would be diluted across, let's say you bought 100 firms, then let's say you partnered with us and you rolled 30 or 40% into your own firm. Versus in a top co, that 30 to 40% rollover, which I think in their case it's a smaller percentage. But then that gets diluted across, and it continues.
The future dilutions.
Yeah, and so still there's huge value that can be created there, and I must say, that model I have seen and lived on both sides, working with Light Bay Capital, private equity, and being a part of a mattress firm and buying a lot of firms, and there's no way we ever could have grown without that help. And so I think what they're doing is huge. I just think for us, it's really about three things. It's about your growth is your growth. And so you can see your number. It's about a permanent capital vehicle. And then the third thing is you don't have to trade off autonomy. There's a subtle difference here of autonomy versus growth, meaning that when you still own a very large percentage of the company, you have the autonomy and the authority, and candidly, the incentive to make the decision. And I would say, just like oxygen in the room keeps us alive, and you can't see it, entrepreneurial is the oxygen. And so whenever
there's a blood.
Yeah, whenever that gets watered down, and you lose the entrepreneur, that's a scary thing. And in this case, at Crete, we are really focused on keeping that oxygen in the room, because that entrepreneurialism is what built it. And we're, to the point you were making earlier, we do have a lot of deep domain expertise on our team, but at the same time, we're not building a bench of people to run these firms. We're relying on the entrepreneurs to run the firms, and then we're investing in their next generation. And using equity as a which I think many are doing as well, using equity as a currency to incentivize the next generation, so that it can be win-win. At the end of the day, all the models are really good options. It just depends on what's best for you, and we don't think that every firm should join us or them. It depends on what's best for them. And again, it's not a zero-sum game. they're going to do really well, and they're proving it. So.
No, you are right. Obviously, the market size is so big, and obviously every firm or individual has his own choice to make. If the right combination and thought process is matching, then only it results into X and plus Y. And just I'll acknowledge Steve for last 1 hour what I was speaking. Obviously, the most I think the important aspects which you have reiterated again and again, entrepreneurship. I think that's the big difference is going to be there for success. If you ask me, say you have 46 firms, however it grows, if there is one entrepreneur today, and if you are able to develop or create or build next 10 entrepreneurs in each firm, I think your game is on.
Yeah.
These all numbers will be short.
And it has to do with it really. If we just all back up in the industry and we say, well, why would that be so important? It has to do with what the client expects, and the client values a relationship, and the client values a trust. So these rainmakers that have built these firms are very special, and so we're really careful not to change that DNA.
I agree. So Steve, I think we already covered our time, but a lot of things to cover. But nevertheless, we'll have next time. Just maybe we'll close this with a rapid fire. Shreya, I'll start with you just to make something interesting, and then we can close. So Shreya, if you were to start career today, would you choose accounting?
I studied accounting, and I think I'm very thankful for what I learned through my education. So absolutely would probably go back and actually pursue a career in accounting, knowing where I am today, and the regret that I have about not having actually spent time, serving as an accounting professional.
And one thing about credit that market doesn't fully appreciate.
I think it truly is, the autonomy and the entrepreneurial autonomy and spirit that Crete is able to retain among our partner firms and people. Our partner equity model is very, very special and unlike anything that exists in the market today.
Thanks. Steve, how about you? You will choose accounting or not?
Well, as evidence, I just convinced my son to change his major to accounting, and I will tell you, my dad was a Pete Marwick accountant.
Okay.
And so when I started my business, he told me one piece of advice, which was to sign every check. And so for roughly 10 years, I every Friday had a stack of checks on my desk. And I would tell you that accounting is the language of business. And I entered every bill, and I did every book. I did all of our books until we got larger. There's no way I would have been a public company CEO without that experience.
Basic knowledge.
And I really regret that I blew off accounting in college because I got a marketing degree, and I tell everyone today, before I got into here, you need to get accounting, at least study it for a few years, because it is the language.
Good entrepreneur.
It's if you're going to be an entrepreneur, you can't be an entrepreneur without learning accounting, and so I think it's the language of business, and I think it's fundamental.
And the life is full circle. You never imagined at 57 you will be coming.
I know, exactly. Yeah, I'm still working on it. I'm coming around. Yeah, so this is my new world. I'm going back to what I wanted to do.
You will be dealing with so many accountants.
Exactly. Yes. Exactly.
So last one thing about credit market doesn't appreciate. What is your according to?
Yeah, I think it's just hard to understand the market, to understand the distinction of well, first of all, private equity is new to this space. And so just understanding what's happening with private equity is new. And again, I want to reiterate, all the models can be very helpful. There's pluses and minuses. But to understand what the definition of partner equity is and what that really means, and how we really allow for a true autonomy, I think that's a unique thing that we are constantly having to talk about.
No, I agree with you. It's all about execution.
Yes, exactly. So, but it's exciting.
Yeah. Thanks, Steve, for your time today. I really enjoyed discussing with you and learning a lot of things.
Yes.
Based on, I hope you had a good time also.
We had a great time, so it's good to come over here. So next time you have to do it in America.
Yeah, definitely. It will be my. I think that will be the great.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Thank you.